Let's learn.
All right. So we're going to do teruma, right? Derush Gimel. The Midrash says, "Vayikhu li teruma." Hadahu dichtiv ki lekach tov natati lachem torati ata azov. It's a very important pasuk. What does ki lekach tov mean? Lekach means like an asset, all right? Like you're acquired an asset. So ki lekach tov natati lachem. I gave you a good asset. Torati ata azovu.
Don't mess it up.
Don't leave it. Don't leave it. So what it says, al ta'azvu et mechach, right? Don't forsake the acquisition, right? What you're gonna get. Why? Why does he say it? Because the Midrash explains there's people that get the people that acquire things, they sometimes will have gold, but they won't have silver. Or they'll have silver, but they won't have gold. Meaning you acquire something, there's always something missing. It's very hard to find something that has it all. It's always missing something. Even the Tesla, by the way, doesn't have ways. Very annoying.
Very annoying.
Very annoying.
Or sensitive windshield.
So very sensitive windshield. So now, look, the Midrash gives three examples, and now you have to realize when the Midrash does this, there's a reason. He's not just giving you extra examples for no reason. He's giving. So he said. So the pasuk says, "Ki lekach tov natati lachem torati ata azovu." It says what? It says that there's sometimes somebody acquires something. It might have a gold, but it won't have silver, or it has silver but won't have gold. Aval hamikach shenatati lachem, but the asset that I'm giving you has both. That's what the Midrash says. It has gold and it has silver, and brings a pasuk to show a pasuk that says has gold referred to the Torah, in case of referred to the Torah, showing that it has everything. Or that's the first example. The second example says yesh lecha adam lokech sadot aval lo keramim. Right? Sometimes a person will take a field or take some real estate and he'll have fields along to it, but doesn't have vineyards, or vineyards that doesn't have fields. Because not every land could handle both. You can't plant a etrog tree in Brooklyn because it's not the right climate. So, but mine has both. The Torah, the asset that I'm giving you, Hashem's telling us, has both fields and both keramim, right? Vineyards. That's the second thing. The third one's a great one. Yesh lecha adam lokech me'ekach ubenei adam enam yodim mahu ela misechar hasarsur. Sometimes people don't know what the action. The broker made a deal, and that's the only way you know how much it was actually worth.
So the third one is somebody buys something from the broker, and they have
you don't know how much it is.
They have no idea what.
No, the world doesn't know. The world doesn't know. I heard you made a deal. I don't know how much. I don't know, but it must have been good because the broker's driving around with a new car. You understand? So you understand. And how do we know that? Because we know from the Sakkal that Moshe got when he received the Torah. He comes down, and what Moshe lo yada, Moshe didn't know, ki karan or panav, his face was glowing, right, shining, so he doesn't know. So ad kan lishno. So this is the Midrash. Vaychuli teruma, right, and he connects it to ki lekach tov natati lechem torati ata ozovu, and he says, don't leave my asset that I'm giving you, because sometimes people acquire a field, a gold, or acquire silver, but never acquire something that has both. Or they could acquire fields, but it doesn't have keramim, vineyards, or it might get vineyards without fields. Or a person, the reward or the deal could be so valuable that people don't even know it was disclosed amount. Nobody knows how much. But the only proof that you had that it was a good deal was from the broker himself. And we learned that from Moshe Rabbeinu. So if the Zera Shimshon is asking, Ubifshat HaMidrash Ze Tamua, the explanation of the Midrash is very, what's the question? What does the Teruma have to do with Leka? You know, what does Teruma also could be read as? Torah Mem.
Okay.
Teruma is also Torah Mem. What Torah was acquired 40 days in Shemayim. So Torah Mem. So, but the Zera Berach brings in Megillat Esther. He brings that the Torah is split into three. If you look at the Torah, how it's split up.
We have Zera on the Torah on the
sure,
Megillah?
For sure. Zera Shimshon Megillah. For sure. Yeah, Alt has. Yeah, absolutely. So he says it's split into three. One is Maaseh, doing. The second helik is Iyun, right, delving into coming up with a new concept, the Hidushim. And the third one is Sod, is the secrets of the Torah. If you look at the Torah, it's split into these three things. Maaseh, Iyun, and Sod. Maaseh is doing the mitzvot. Iyun is analyzing the Torah, the reasoning of the Torah, coming up with a Hidushim on the Torah, connecting one random thing to another. That's Iyun. And the third is Sod. right? The secrets behind why we do things. Why do we wash our hands? Because evil spirits are all over us. That's sod. That's not something you tell to the common guy. Common guy, you tell him just, you wash your hands. Right? Like Shulchan Aruch says, right? We talked about it, right?
Yeah.
Wash your hands and whatever. That's that's the halakha. The reason why, okay, you got it's like white belt, yellow belt, purple belt, black belt, and then you have either on the black belt.
There are stripes on the black belt.
And the stripes on the black belt. That's right. So now he wants to explain this lekach that he gave us. He's going to break it down to 3 examples. He's going to break it down to these 3 things, right? And keneged helik ha'maaseh, the Midrash is saying that sometimes people have acquired something that has gold or silver or gold. Is ki'ilu what? Is compared to someone that has any mitzvah that he gets, he acquires osher and zechut gadol in olam haba. And all the mitzvot, he's saying that all the mitzvot, the reward of all the mitzvot are equal. Like it says in the Midrash Rabbah, in Devarim. It says, it brings the pasuk in Mishleh. It says the pasuk equates the easiest mitzvah and the hardest mitzvah, right? With the same reward. You have shiluach hakin, which is just shooing a bird away. You get orech yamim, you get long life. Mm-hmm. You get kaved davi kaved timecha, which is one of the hardest things to do in the Torah, right? Which it says, right? It says it says hamura sheba hamurot. It's one of the hardest things to do, and it says it's the same reward. Why? To teach you that every mitzvah that you do, regardless A to Z, whatever level it is, the sachar is arichut yamim, which is olam haba. Okay, to show you now, the Midrash over there brings an example that a king wants to build plant an orchard, a field, but he doesn't tell anybody how much anything costs, what the reward is for what the salary is. He just tells everybody, I want 20 of these, 15 of these, 100 of these, this and that, whatever. At the end, he goes and analyzes the field, and he goes to take a look, and he sees, and he says, who planted this pepper tree? So the guy goes, me. He goes, all right, here's 1 zuz. The next guy, all right, who planted this, the almond tree, whatever. Okay, who planted this olive tree? He goes, me. He goes, all right, here's 200 zuz. The other people goes, well, how come he gave him 200 zuz? You only gave me 1 zuz. So he tells him, because this is worth more. So the people's like, well, why didn't you tell me? We would have all planted those. He goes, that's the problem. Mm. If I would have told you, you would have only done those, and I would only have olive trees. I need an orchard. I need everything. I need a pardes. So Hashem doesn't want us to say that if we knew the sachar of each mitzvah, or assume we knew the sachar of each mitzvah, then we're just going to only do this one, and we're going to neglect all the other ones. And if we neglect all the other ones, it's not what Hashem wants. He wants his orchard.
That's a good marshal. That's
great. Right? If everybody knew what the sachar was for each mitzvot, right? Then when one guy does one mitzvah and his friend does another mitzvah, he doesn't want us to say, oh, I did the hard one, I'm going to get the gold. You did the easy one, you'll get the silver. Right? Which means sachar miruba v'sachar muat. That's the gold and the silver. So what are we coming to teach you? Kulan shavot uscharan merubeh. Right? All the sachar is grand and huge. Like it says in Pirkei Avot, to be careful fulfilling the easy mitzvot as the hard ones. Right? You don't know the value of the mitzvot.
It's a sliding scale often we find.
We think it's a slide. Who says that's the point?
I don't mean to say it like this, but look at, when it comes to tzaddikim and the things that they get reward or punished for. Moshe Rabbeinu is a prime example. Where he's the tzaddik gamor, but he does one thing
small
thing,
no Israel.
Right. So that's what I mean by the sliding scale.
That's different because the way it works, but the higher you are, the more you're not going to treat your 16-year-old the same way you'll treat your 5-year-old.
Correct.
Right?
Although the 16-year-old is always saying, that is not fair. And it's like, dude, you are 16 and not 5.
Right. That's exactly right. There you go. So Moshe Rabbeinu, who saw, right? Panim el panim, diber ima'el, that he is going to be held to a much higher standard than us. But that's not
schar. That's not
right. This is talking about only sachar. Sachar to show you that if you do a mitzvah, you're going to get much higher. You're going to get. You don't know what the sachar is. And if Hashem would tell you the sachar, He didn't do that because you don't want one guy say, "I got the zahav, you got the kesef."
You're too tilted.
It's not, and then we're all gonna be all over Kibud Avayim, and we're gonna forget about everything. The Shiloh Haken, and Hashem doesn't want that. He wants a balance. He wants you to do all the mitzvot as much as he can. So that's why the Pirkei Avot explains to you, right? You have to be careful with the mitzvot, and that's why that's the first part of the midrash. So I'm giving you this lekach. I'm giving you this asset, and some assets you buy a piece of property has kesef or zahav. Not property. You buy something. Sometimes it'll have silver. Sometimes it'll have gold or silver. But to show you the Torah has both. That you're going to get everything. It's all equal. There's only gold. It's all the same level. So there's no such thing as doing one or the other. Now, iyun. That was the first part of the midrash. The second part was the sadot. Remember the fields and the vineyards.
It's connected.
It's connected to chelik ha'iyun. She'adam mehadesh umotzi parperaot lehochma. It comes out and brings the sweetness out of the Torah. Is very, very similar to a field and a vineyard because they also produce fruits. The iyun, you're able to produce. You're able to come up with new things. When you plant seeds and you get a tree, what you're able to pick from the tree and sell off the tree and live off the tree, you're producing from something that was from nothing. You took seeds. The Torah, you're able to look into the Torah and now create this new concept that we didn't know about before. That's why it's called a hidush. Hidush, mehadesh, something new. Now we know it says in hadash tahat hashemesh, but when it's new to me, right? It's new to the world. Even though it still exists. You're talking now about all these amazing things about flying cars, right? Airplanes, AI, all these crazy things.
Yeah, which is funny because like you had dudes flying in battle in the Torah also. So,
right, sure, but they just flew a different way. Mm-hmm. But to show you also everything was made by. You have to know everything was made by Maaseh Bereshit. Mm-hmm. It's not like Tesla is something new. It's not new. It was always we just found it. We figured it out now. It doesn't mean that
it's a hidush.
It's a hidush to us. It's not a hidush to Hashem. It's a hidush to us. So that's what the iyun is, that over here, that is very similar to a sadot keramim, right? Because why? Remember we said that sometimes you can buy a piece of property and you'll be able to plant one thing, but you won't be able to plant another thing. Depends on the climate. No etrog tree in Brooklyn. You go to Morocco, right? Why? Because the climate. So there's lands that are ra'ui for sowing seeds, but not ra'ui to plant, vines, or the opposite. Right? But when you do iyun Torah, when you look into the Torah, you're able to mehadesh in many different ways. That's why we say shivim panim la Torah. Look, you have Peshat, you have Derash, you have Remez, you have Sod, you have Hasidut, you have, you can look at it from a side of Din, you can look at a side of Hamim, you can look at Hashem's our Father, you can look at Hashem's our King, you can look at that where God's slaves, many different ways, right? And so you have everything, when you learn Torah, you have everything in there. That's why the Midrash is comparing it, where some people will have fields but won't have vineyards, or some people will have vineyards but won't have fields, but the Torah's got both. What I'm giving you has got both. Right? And it plants the Torah in you. Venoteya Torah bizichrono. And the Torah is implanted in you. Why? Ki ha-pilpul mekayem hazikaron. Pilpul makes your mind sharp, and you're able to retain information much better. Like Rabbi Hanan Haya in the Gemara Ketuvot, is something crazy. It says Rabbi Hanina is trying to convert. They're fighting over halacha. And the Rabbi Hanina says, you should trust me because I'm greater than you. Because if God forbid the Torah would be forgotten, this is what the Gemara says. If the Torah, God forbid, would be forgotten, I would bring it back through my pilpul. Meaning everybody will remember that, will go back to the Torah. I'll start teaching derashot on pilpulim, and all of a sudden people will remember. Right? Mahdarna la mi pilpuli. Right? Ani achol lahazir ota al kol pilpulim sheli. To bring connecting one thing to it. Look, you learn Zera Shimshon, it's all pipul. You start out with a midrash. You bring a Gemara. You bring a Megillat Esther from where to where. Okay, we have Gemarot. We have all different things from where to where. And he brings the Shulchan Aruch a lot. Zohar. That's pipul. Bringing one thing from another and putting it all together. So he's saying, but when you do that, you learn many different things in a very short period of time. Mm-hmm. If you have one derasha about, look, you have midrash, you have mishleh. Okay, you have Shemot, that's pasuk. You have Megillat Esther, that's 4.
The Mishnah.
Right? You have another Midrash. What Mishnah? You don't have Midrash. Avot, very good, 6. Right? You have Midrash Rabbah. You have Ketuvot. I did that one, right? Ketuvot, you have Rosh Hashanah. Right? I gave you 9 different sources, all based on one page of Pupul. So Rabbi Hayna is saying, I could get everything in, and I'll just get it. It's amazing. But by the way, it's crazy. You know what Rabbi Hayya says? He goes, no. He goes, I would make it where the Torah would not even be forgotten in the first place. Because he says, what would I do? I would. It's amazing. He goes. I would plant. I would buy deer. I would shech the deer. Use the hides to write scrolls. I would open up a Talmud Torah for kids. Teach the kids. Tell each kid to teach each other kid. And he goes like he made a whole plan in 2 lines of the Gemara, explaining that he'll make sure that the Torah doesn't get forgotten. So Rabbi Hayya says, no, you should be listening to me. I'm better than you. If it was under my watch, the Torah would never be forgotten in the first place. That's what he's saying. But to show you that the Pilpul, what the Pilpul does, what it gives you. So now he explains, in order to give Hidushim, you need 2 things. If you want to make a Hidush, or you want to come up with something together, you need 2 things. You need to have a very good memory, first thing. Zikaron tov mikol ma shelamad. You have to have a good memory, because you need to remember everything you learned. Vesechel yashar. You need to have straightforward thinking, straightforward logic. Right? Why? Because why do you need straightforward logic? Because you're going to be taking from the Midrash, from a Pasuk, from Pirkei Avot, from Shulchan Aruch. It has to be wholesome. Someone told Rabbi Mansell once, he gave him a Peshat or something. He said, the Torah says this, that means A, B, and C. So the guy saw that the rabbi, he wasn't sold on it. So he goes, Rabbi, what do you mean? 70 faces, Shivim Panim La Torah. So Rabbi Mansell goes, yeah, but this is the 71st way. It's not, sorry, no dice. Why? Because you have to have good memory and you have to have straightforward thinking. You need to understand what it's saying, what it means to say. All the Agadah in the Torah is in the Gemarot, in the Midrashim, specifically, there's things hidden behind it. You need to be smart enough to see through the regular, dialogue of what's going on and to understand what it is. And that's how you're able to lehavin davar mitoch davar. Right? And dehainu mamash, very similar like sadot keramim, that you need to know where to plant what. You can't plant etrogim in Brooklyn because it's just not going to grow. So if you look at the Torah the wrong way, you're never going to be able to understand it properly. So you have to know where to plant what. So therefore he says that the Torah has got both. When you learn the Hidushim the right way, it's got both. Then the third way is Sod. Let's talk about Sod. Yesh lecha adam lokeach mikach ve'en adam yodea mahu. And a person could take, acquire an asset, and the other guy won't know the value. Even himself, he won't know the value of what he has. Right? Even somebody that knows sodot of the Torah, there's always things that are actually hidden from him, and he doesn't actually know the real reason. It's never going to go it'll go where he goes. But there's so much more. No matter how far you go, there's no such thing as the end.
Hashem is infinite.
Right.
Hashem has no end.
And the Torah is infinite.
Yeah.
So if the Torah is infinite, that means that no matter what you know, there's always more secrets that you're not going to cover. Yeah. So even if you think you know, you don't know. And you only know that as you get older.
What do we know?
What do we know? Right? Kama devarim nisharim mimenu lamim. Right? The parts are always going to be hidden. She'i efshar lape ledaber. So what is he saying? There are secrets that are. How did the Baal Shem Tov know that the Or HaHaim died? He was in. Where was Baal Shem Tov live? Where was the? Where was Or HaHaim? Morocco. Okay. I think Middle East. I think Morocco. And he said maybe Baghdad. Baghdad's in Morocco. Who knows? Whatever. These are things I should know.
Yeah, I mean.
So, it was on a Shabbat, and he tells him the light of the west is extinguished.
Yeah, I heard this. Wow.
Right.
So
why? Because there's a certain kavanah that has to be done when you do Netilat Yadayim, and only one person knows it in each generation. And
so
when
he received it.
The Baal Shem Tov received it. So once he knew, because he knew the Or HaHaim had it. So when because again, why? Because what does Zera Shimshon say? Shemina shamayim, from shamayim meirim nishmato kedel sheyasig besichlo ledevarim setumim. That shamayim is going to open up the person's heart, open up his neshama, in order to be able to understand these hidden things. So when the Baal Shem Tov realized that he now knows the kavanah, he knew that's separate, because he knew that only one person in the generation is going to know it. So if he knows it, he knows that the one that did know it ain't around anymore. And that's how he knew. And how do you know that? That you learn this from the hod, the glory that you saw from Moshe Rabbeinu's face. Because how do you know? Because Moshe Rabbeinu himself, what it says in the Gemara Rosh Hashanah, Kaf Aleph Amud Bet, Ki zacha lahamishim sha'arei bina vezacha leora. He's the one that was zocher for the 50 levels of bina. Understand what bina is? That's crazy. One level bina, then another level, then another level. It's really it's a whole world in itself. It's a whole world in itself. And Moshe Rabbeinu was zocher when he came down to hit that 50th level, and therefore that it showed it on his face. And that's the broker. The broker is the only one he's the one that's just bringing you down for us.
He didn't know.
That's the point. The broker didn't know.
The broker doesn't know.
The broker doesn't. Right, that's true.
Moshe didn't know.
He didn't know.
They were like,
right.
Why aren't you looking at me? What do you mean? We can't look at you.
It's crazy.
The countenance coming off of you.
Right. Like, what is that? So the Midrash breaks it down into three things, right? We talked about the gold and silver. We talked about the Sadot and Keramim, the fields and the vineyards, and we talked about that people don't even know what the value is, and we only know it from the broker. Okay? We broke it down between the three parts of the Torah, which is Maaseh, doing, mitzvot. Iyun is delving into, right, learning and bringing out Hidushim. And the third part is the Sod, the Kavanot, why we do things. Now, with that answer, you could answer another question that has at the end of the Pasuk, where it says, right, Ki lekach tov natati lachem, torati al ta'azovu. So if I know all these things, what makes you think that I would ever leave it? If you're telling me that what I'm giving you is worth more than, some have gold, some have silver, and this one has both. Some has fields and some has vineyards, this one has both. And the Sachar is so great that no one even knows it, right? Now, why would you think al ta'azovu? Why would you think anybody would leave it? You ever think if you won the lottery, what would you do? Let's say you won the lottery. Yeah. Okay, let's say you won the lottery, and now you find out on Thursday night or Friday afternoon that you won. You can't go until Monday. That's $100 million ticket you have. What are you going to do with that? Where are you going to put that ticket? What are you going to do? You're going to stare at it, your hands are going to be sweaty, the numbers are going to get, bleeded out. But you're going to be constantly checking it, or you're going to be... It's
going in the safer Shabbos.
Very nice. Okay, good. But if a person doesn't have the Shabbat mindset, that he's going to be sweating bullets for 3 days.
They're going to sweat on the ticket.
I'm telling you, it's going to bleed out the ink. So what makes you think that if you're telling me that all this is great, why would I leave it? It's coming to teach you something.
But it's also the same thing, when somebody thinks that they reached a particular madrega of something. The second that I'm so there, boom, you're not there anymore.
No. Whatever madrega you think, right, there's always higher.
Yeah, but it's all it's like whenever you think you got someplace, then that's when you realize that you have way more to travel. It's like maybe.
Well, the more you know, you don't know. The more you know, the more you know, you really don't know.
Correct.
Right. So what's this coming to tell us that we don't know? So it says it's coming to teach you that it doesn't compare to someone. You can't compare someone that does a mitzvah once a year versus someone that does it every day. Okay? And you can't compare it to someone that, let's say, walks to go do a mitzvah or nonchalantly does it, whatever it comes, versus someone that chases it.
Runs after it.
Right. Why? Because the mitzvah, the sachar that you're going to get is going to be that much greater. You go to shul once a year. Very nice. You made sure to get to shul.
That's a better example. You wait for somebody to come knock on your door, so you give them 20 shekels, we're like, here you go, buddy, thanks, have a good day. Or you're going out looking, who needs money? Who can I help right now? So
going out. So the action of going out, you're gonna get sachar for the actually going out. Compared, again, it's the Torati ata azovu he's gonna connect it to each one of the three things that we went through, which is maaseh, iyun, and sod. The maaseh part is you can't compare someone that does a mitzvah once a year versus the guy that does it every day. Okay, and the guy that walks to shul versus running to shul, because the harder it is, the more sachar you get. Versus a guy that just, he'll come early to shul, but he only does it once. You can't compare it to that guy versus a guy that goes every day and really fights for it. Same thing with iyun. You can't compare a guy that's constantly learning and breaking his head and going through it versus the guy that doesn't always do it. Because the guy that doesn't always do it is not going to get anything out of it. If he wants to do a hidush once a year and if his mind is not in it, constantly learning, you're not. Versus the same thing with the sod. You can't compare somebody that's always focused and learning sod versus someone that does not learn. So the Torah is coming to teach you al ta'azuv. Don't leave it. Afilu rega echad b'Torah shenatati lachem. Don't leave the Torah, not even a moment. She'im to you, because if you're lax with it, you're not going to find the tov that I'm talking about. If you're gonna go to shul and go on your phone, don't expect to walk out feeling good. Don't expect to walk. If you want to, you understand. If you're gonna go to shul with you rolling your eyes and you're not in it, you're not gonna feel nothing. How could anybody feel it? Every time I feel like I don't go on my phone in shul. I'm very careful with that.
Same.
But I get the itch. I get the itch for nothing.
Sometimes it keeps buzzing.
Right. So what do? So I look around the room and I see who's on their phone, and I say I don't want to be that guy. And what do you mean? And it changes you. It makes you different. It teaches you that it's not the end of the world. It teaches you to. This is a bad thing. This is a rough one. The phone is it's even when you're resting, you're checking it, which is retarded because you want to check it. You want to rest. So what is he saying here? He says that al tazov, don't leave it 1 second. Don't expect to get this lekach tov for what I'm telling you. This unbelievable glory thing, right? It's got kesev zahav, it's got sadim, keramim, and sadot, and stuff that you don't even know. You can't even imagine what the thing is. But don't expect to get it if you don't put your head in the game. That's what he's saying, right? She'im tiyu mitrapim ba. If you're going to be lax with it, lo timseu bahatov sheivtachti lachem. You're not going to find the good that I promised for you. And that's what it means when it says, Ki lekach tov natati lachem, I gave you a good asset. Torati, my Torah, al ta'azovu, because if you leave it, you're never going to find the good. And going to shul is learning also, by the way. The guy's on his phone while the rabbi's giving the class. Don't do it just to check off the mark, the checkbook the box that I what's it called?
There's no check mark. It doesn't count for anything if you.
No, it's not true.
Please.
I know a guy. Listen, I know a story. I know guys also do this, but I know a story of a guy.
There's no point.
That's not true.
I don't mean to say it like abandon everything.
No, look, I have a guy. Look, it's all about how much effort you put. There's a guy. If you go to class every night at 9:30 p.m., 9:30, 10:30, but the second the guy gets to class, he falls right asleep. The whole hour sleeping, wakes up. Rabbi Hanina, he finally wakes up. Why? But he gets reward. Why? Because the hardship it is for him to get out of the house from a long day work, now to go to shul, that means it's a very big deal. That's a very big deal, and he's able. You understand? And he's able to, and so Hashem cares about that. Now, not to say go. Now, I'm not saying go to shul and get comfy and get ready to fall asleep. No,
you want to.
You're fighting. You're fighting.
You want to listen to a shir.
Yeah.
You got to put everything you can into listening to that shir. You can't be on your phone and doing other things.
But don't expect to get the lekach tov if you're not going to be in it. If you're not going to allow the Torah to go into your head, Torati al ta'azovu, because if you do leave it, it's going to be a problem.
It only happens when you apply yourself.
So you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to be fair to yourself, and say, okay, you want this lekach tov that Hashem promised me, beauty, but that means you got to put everything in it. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, amen v'amen.